Welcome to the World Awaits.
Travel tales to inspire your wanderlust.
Welcome back to the World Awaits. How are you all? How's your week been, Belle?
Well, I've thrown all the schedules out the window because as this goes to air, I'm winging my way to Sri Lanka on Jetstar's inaugural direct flight from Melbourne to Colombo. And then I'm meeting up with Intrepid Travel for a quickie cultural hit in the centre of the country, which incidentally, okay, here's a fun fact for you. Sri Lanka is about the size of Tasmania, but it has a population that is 44 times greater.
Wow, yeah, isn't that incredible? I was last in Sri Lanka before the pandemic and I stayed at Anatara Tangal Beach Haven, which is down south in Tangal, and it is just one of the most beautiful properties you've ever seen. The entrance is so grand. You walk in, and as you walk through the main doors, through the lobby, you look out over this balcony to these tiered infinity pools and the ocean and swaying palm trees, and it's just everything that your tropical dreams are made of. And the villas have plunge pools, and there's a massive wellness centre there too. But the only thing is, don't get too close to the monkeys, because I was trying to photograph a monkey and got a little close, and I got chased.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, who doesn't love being chased by a monkey? It can happen anywhere. I did a transit in Sri Lanka just on the way to the Maldives last year. Can I recommend the airport transit hotel? But I haven't been since I took my baby around there on a 2-week work trip, and she's now in year 10. And we covered some incredible properties. We stayed in the Amman properties in Galle and also in Tangal as well, but also $20 guest house in Kandy, which was just gorgeous. And I've got to say, it's a country that is amazing to travel with children. So I'm going to tell you all about it in the upcoming episode. But kicking into this week, we have the most underrated luxury affordable destinations for you, provided by digital entertainment platform jv.com. So it analysed hotel rates, dining costs, spa availability, luxury experiences, and also safety to find out where travellers get the most bang for their buck.
And the most underrated luxury destination was Da Nang in Vietnam, with a nightly rate for two of $125 for a 5-star hotel. That's 125 Australian. And a fine dining experience runs at about $25. Who can get a fine dining experience for $25? The city has 702 spas and wellness centres and 205 luxury experiences. They're things like night cruises and sunset tours and firework viewings. Who doesn't love a firework viewing? Second was Hoi An, it's the neighbouring sort of suburb area in that region, which had an even lower rate at $117 average and upscale dining at $25 for two. And it was actually rated slightly safer than Da Nang and has high-end experiences of averaging about $57, which was the lowest in the top 5. And it also has 540 wellness retreats.
My gosh, that's like, Vietnam spa, right? So third comes in a city that is close to my heart and very pertinent for this episode. It is Marrakech. Nearly 400 big ticket activities, which is the most in the top 5 destinations that topped out this survey, with an average price of $78. So we're talking things like private hammam, spa rituals, hot air ballooning over the Atlas Mountains, and also guided tours in the Medina's riads, because that is the place that, like, getting lost is a delight, but if you didn't want to get lost, you can guide through it. A night in a 5-star luxury for two is a bit more costly at nearly $400, and gourmet dinners at $44. So Marrakech, as you will hear in the interview coming up, is a glorious destination for food, for design, and for shopping. And if you're like me and love things like hand-woven carpets and beautiful leather slippers, babushas are a favourite buy here in Morocco. It's absolutely worth a visit. And fourth coming in for affordable destinations is Zanzibar in Tanzania, which ranks fourth with nearly 300 luxury experiences with a typical price of $92. So if you're looking for a world-class hotel, expect to pay around $500, and a top-tier dinner is still incredibly cheap at $30, which is the second lowest in the top 5. And you can book things like, private spice farm tours, sunset cruises on a dhow, which are those, beautiful traditional sailing boats, and snorkeling trips out to the atolls. And of course, you've got to balance this out with the cost of the airfares from Australia too, though.
Yes. And Nairobi in Kenya rounded out the top 5 with 114 VIP activities. A 5-star overnight stay here is about $280, and dining in an upscale restaurant you have to add on another $50. And with summer temperatures at around 26 degrees Celsius, the report said it's the most comfortable among the top 5. And of course, it's also got those memorable experiences, safaris, and exceptional culinary scene as well. What's the best budget 5-star place you've ever stayed at, Belle?
Look, I think Vietnam, as the research shows, provides exceptional value for 5-star properties. So it's no wonder that Aussies love it so much. Gosh, I'm going to be a bit boring on this one because all of my places I was going to put in this I knew you were going to ask me this question. All the places I was like, oh my gosh, there's that incredible Haveli in Jaipur and there's my favorite place in Dubai, but they're all 4 stars. So, 5-star, like an actual big 5-star tick. I find Melbourne actually provides very good hotel value, especially when you compare it with Sydney. Sorry, Sydney. I mean, look, I stayed at the 5-star Hotel Indigo, which is on the Bourke Street Mall, when it opened at the end of last year, and it's currently selling for as little as $170. And I've got to say, you're just not going to find that in Sydney.
Yeah, amazing. I'm going to go with Hoi An. We stayed at, which is obviously in this report, and ranked high too. And we stayed at a little boutique 5-star place called La Siesta. And you can stay there for as little as 150 Australian dollars a night. And it's such a gorgeous property. It's got 2 pools and a beautiful restaurant. And I found it because I actually went through a travel agent when we were booking this trip, and they were going to put us in a place right in the centre of Hoi An, and I just wanted to be a little further out, so we were sort of away from all that hustle and bustle. And so it's about 1.5 kilometres from the old town, so close enough, but it was really quiet. And also the thing I absolutely loved about it, because everyone who's a regular listener knows how much I love hiking and biking, is we biked from there across to Kam Kim Island, which is this gorgeous island that you can just cycle around where you're cycling among rice paddies and watch all the local artisans at work. So that was just an incredible way to see local life.
If you'd like to help support our production costs, you can buy us a coffee at coffee.com/theworldawaits. That's ko-fi.com/theworldawaits, so we can continue to bring you inspirational travel interviews with the world's best.
This week, Belle chats with Angela Mellak, who, with her husband Mohammed, owns Riyadh Botanica, which is a traditional 5-bedroom hotel in the 10th century Medina in Marrakech. While her husband is Moroccan, Angela is originally from Melbourne, and Belle caught up with her while she was in town to chat about some of that gorgeous city's colour and energy. Take a listen.
Hi, Angela. Welcome to The World Awaits. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Hi, Belle. Thank you so much for the invite. It's wonderful to be here.
Look, I'm so glad that we've managed to catch you for a fleeting moment being in Morocco and in Melbourne. You've traded Marrakech for Melbourne, and I'm sorry about the weather. But let's talk. Let's talk all about Marrakech because it is a city close to my heart. It's a country close to my heart. Tell me how you ended up living in one of the greatest cities in the world.
It was a crazy experience. In 2012, I went with a girlfriend and traveled all around Morocco. And on my last week, I decided to throw caution to the wind, have no bookings, have no reservations, and went exploring in the souks. It's probably one of my crazy stories of travel. And I got completely lost within the first 5 minutes of leaving the property that I was staying in the old Casbah. As one does. And that's the joy of Marrakech, just getting lost. And I was on a argan oil hunt for a girlfriend and a couple of other tagines and bits and pieces. Totally. And these little kids are saying to me, dead end, dead end. And I was like, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. It was a dead end. So I went down this street and I was desperate to find someone who spoke English. And this lovely lady pointed out this gentleman and he said, oh, do you need some help? And I'm like, yes, please. So he helped me to find my shopping destination and then gave me his card. And then I was like, thank you so much. He said, look, if you need any help, I'm happy to help you. And I was like, thanks very much. I'll be good. And then 4 hours later, I was still shopping. And as I was going to pay for something, the woman looks up while she was paying and while I was paying. And it was that guy again. And I was like, that's a bit interesting. Same kind of, she thought we knew each other, poured us a cup of tea. I then went and asked him the Spanish Inquisition about 5 wives. What's this? What's that? He answered them all to my, poor human being, answered them to my satisfaction. Then I asked him out for a drink. Went out for a drink. And then he came to Australia and got sponsored to live here, and we built a home here. And girlfriends of friends of ours, a good girlfriend, built a property in Babdukala, and I just kept visiting since 2013, 2014, just kept visiting and kept telling her what she should do. And then she said politely, Angela, just do it yourself. And so in 2019, the dream came true, pregnant. We found an incredible riad across the road from my friend's place. Fell in love with it even more because then we got to really work on stuff and work with the artisans. I worked with an incredible interior designer here, Claire Cockasiel, and we brought a bit of Australian and Morocco together. We found a meeting point through Art Deco. We've celebrated Florence Broadhurst, and it's an addiction now. So, I absolutely love it. It's just a heartfelt space. We're always investing. We're probably really bad hoteliers because a lot of people just do, a bit of a slap and polish, and we're all like, no, let's dig it up and let's put the sewage in and let's get the electrics right. And no, the floor's cracking. Okay, let's put some marble on that. We're all about doing it right. And, it's an honor to be there. And so now, after toing and froing for a few years, it's now home and I have my carte de séjour. So I'm now an official kind of resident.
Oh, fantastic. It's it is the dream. Okay, first the dream is shopping in Marrakech in Morocco because it is just an incredible city for that. And the second is owning a riad. What's the energy of the city and Morocco in general? Like, what is it? How do you feel when you're there compared to when you're here in Australia?
So a lot of people always say how busy and chaotic and hectic it is. And it is. It's busy life in the Medina. For me, though, I find it really full of community. I walk down the street. Everyone knows me. I know them. It's all smiley. It's all happy. I feel really just safe and at home. Like I can walk to dinner through the Medina, have dinner and drinks with girlfriends and walk home midnight, 2 a.m. I feel so at home there. And it's such an incredible, one of my girlfriends comes to visit and she's like, oh, we're back on our film set. And it is. And you just turn a corner and you're like, wow, where am I? But there is a real sense of community and there's, there is secret police there. There is tourist police. We've had the ambassador for America from Belgium come and stay. We have no idea who he was. And the secret police are knocking on our door saying, this guy's just checked in. And we were like, really? We have no idea. And there's just a real level of community and calm. And even going to the vintage markets where I shop, where there's no other Westerners or tourists, and I feel completely at home. Even pushing my pram through the Medina with a small child, the workmen would stop, pick up the pram, carry it over the work site and let me go on my way. And, like here, it's just chalk and cheese. So I absolutely love it. So sorry.
That's okay. Tell me exactly where you live in Marrakech. How old is the Medina or the Casbah?
So the oldest gate is Bab Agnal, which was established in the 9th century. So Marrakech was really created in the 9th century. Finished in the 14th century was the latest addition, which was the Casbah, which is the newest part of the Medina. And we're in the heart of the old part, which is built in the 10th century. So we're, and it's really difficult to date things. So one of my favorite places on planet Earth is Basha Coffee, which is just around the corner from us. And they have the same windows we have. So we can date that the wrought iron and the cedar framed windows were created at a certain point in time. We can also date the fact that we had a well. So we had a well in our property. So our riad had a big well. So it was owned by an aristocratic family that could afford, a good quality and big size property. And so, yeah, it's right in the heart of, and hard to date. We did find pottery and a few other clay things in the walls when we were renovating. And I was like, let's just put a new brick fence next to that, protect it, use it as good insulation, and make sure that it's preserved.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the lure of Marrakech? What is it? What attracts us to there? It's always been, Morocco has always been such a draw card for creatives. And why is that?
It is just, it's a melting pot, I suppose. We have everything from all of the Berber traditions, so the indigenous people, their culture, their lens, the Arabs and their lens, and I suppose Islam as well. Like the Islamic design, and it's really changed my mindset on architecture and design, really living there. You see, what I always thought was Spanish, but it was really the Moors coming through. So it really is this incredible palette, and the courtyard designs of all of the properties are mind-blowing. The artists as well, they've got so much color, and the traditional elements are just reinvented. And you see them and you're like, wow. And there's just this familiarity about it, but it's also understated. It's old money. I've never seen so many four-wheel drive Rolls Royces in my life until I lived in Marrakech. The money, the old school, and it's understated. People don't need to flash it around. It's just a beautiful, elegant space. The Royal Mansour, which is a short walk away, you just come in and you're greeted with nothing but respect, and you sit in these beautiful salons through to La Mamounia, have a high tea. It's mind-blowing. It really is.
I reckon La Mamounia was one of I peaked early in my hotel reviewing career when I went to stay there. And after that, I was never really happy. It is one of the grand dames of the hotel world. And you'll see that a lot across North Africa, won't you, in places like Cairo and Marrakech and those great cities. But that is La Mamounia and Royal Mansour are very different to yours, because your riad is a classic, really, isn't it? 5 rooms, and that is a tenement of classic Moroccan stays, isn't it?
Absolutely. And in saying that, we do have a couple of other properties around us of the similar size as well, which is great. There is a lot more calling themselves riads in the Medina, which are Airbnbs, which are smaller properties. And they're grabbing that name, Riyadh, as well as there is big private equity companies coming in their droves trying to get into the market. So, yeah, we're a very small family business, and I think that because of that, we really deliver a great service. And for me, that's what we're all about. We're about having people come and stay and feel like what it would have been to have multiple generations in the one property. So we have we have 3 squares or sides facing into the courtyard with a beautiful orange tree, which is original. And we also have a traditional douairier, which is a mini apartment inside the property, which we kept and we renovated. And that was, again, showing the culture and the way that families would live together. They would take the airspace over the street, build another room for the young married couple, and they would then stay. And so all this generation feel. And people at first are like, oh, so, there's all this shared space in the middle. And I'm like, yes. And there's shared dinners on the roof terrace. And we bring in an oral female storyteller once a month. And she's the only one in Morocco doing it. And we're all about taking people back in time to feel what it is with an elevated luxury lens, because, we do have beautiful Zalesian marble floors and gorgeous Australian throws from St. Albans and gorgeous tiles and linens, but really having them experience what it would be like to have multi-generations, different people, different noises. People do struggle with our traditional locks. So we do try to do a little bit of kind of authentic flavors inside the riad.
Amazing. And look, one of the things I think too that has made your riad so successful, and I have read this on numerous reports, is that you are actually one of the best guides in the Medina and in Marrakech, because you know what we're looking for. You know what Australians are looking for, but also not afraid to steer us into a direction where we didn't think that we really wanted to go. So for that reason, I'm going to do a little pop quiz with you.
Sure.
All right, you ready? Okay, so
Go.
here we go. Best restaurant.
Struggle with this one. I would say Flowers is amazing, as is Farmers. 2 of my favorites.
What sort of food are they?
So Flowers is a recent open last year. Incredible Danish chef that's come to Morocco. He's had 8 different properties overseas, and he combines fresh ingredients, seasonal ingredients, with this kind of interesting style in Moroccan food. And Farmers, friends of ours, own a farm, and it's literally farm to plate with an incredible Moroccan chef. So great. They've just won the top 50. Richard always from Farmers wins loads of awards as well. And they're just really good people that serve really great food.
Amazing. Best cafe, because cafes are such a tradition in the whole of the Middle East.
Look, I can't go past Basha. Like, it is going to the Ritz. in Marrakech. It really is. The service is phenomenal. The coffee, the food is incredible. The pastry is amazing. Obviously, it got bought over by a Singaporean company, but it is traditionally Moroccan. And the CEO of the Singaporean company, he's a Moroccan. So, I feel very much that, it's still really a part of us. And then obviously Café Le Poste. So, in Galize is a real great classic as well of Art Deco. And, it's just, some gorgeous cafes.
Gorgeous. All right, best bar. Because actually, and I put this in because a lot of people think, I'm going to, a country in
Dry
North
country.
Africa. Can I go to a bar? And I think that's
Yeah.
something that sets Morocco apart from a lot of its neighbours. So best bar.
I mean, I really love Leisure Down to Lotus. I'm good friends with the chef there, Clarissa, who's an incredible rock star. She's Mexican. She's got a Mexican fusion. Great entertainment. There's so many. There's, Elfen Rooftop, Dada. There is Cabana, which is also fun. So it's kind of a bar/restaurant. And I feel as though that's really where I'm at, that I really enjoy. Koya, there's all sorts of great ones, but they're probably some of my top ones.
And when I'm in Marrakech, what is my absolute must-do experience? Because there is the shopping, you can go see leather products being made, you can just get lost in the everybody gets lost in the Medina as well. What do you say? Absolutely unmissable.
You should stay in a riad, not just because I have one, but you really should try that and be open to the experience of not room service, not a hotel. So I think that's my number one. Number two, I would do a guided tour with some of the incredible tour guides, but do a private one. Don't join the big groups because it will just be shop, shop, shop. I really love doing pottery. So Shabby Chic does some fantastic pottery experiences. A really incredible friend of mine does weaving experiences. Mina, she has an incredible collective that she works with up in the Atlas Mountains, and she's helping people learn about weaving. There's perfumery courses you can do. There's cooking classes you can do. There's wellness and hammams, massage, and really go to the palaces. Go and immerse yourself. Go and spend time. Don't rush Marrakech. And also get out of Marrakech. Go to Beldi Country Club. Have a pool day. Go up to Agafay. Experience the closest desert. Don't spend 8 hours in the car. For me, take your time. Spend it well. The beautiful 5-star hotels. One of my friends is the head chef at the Fairmont. And they've got an incredible golf course. Fantastic for golf. Marrakech has got some of the most incredible golf courses. So it's a good 4 to 5 days. And then the industrial quarter, where there is all sorts of amazing designers. Stella Cadet, who used to work for Karl Lagerfeld and Chanel. Like, all of these people are here in town. And one of my absolute favorites is to have lunch at the Moroccans. So the boys at the Moroccans were first put in New York Times, and they've gone on to go strength to strength. They have their own farm and they make the most incredible products, skincare as well as fashion. They were one of the first people who believed in us and helped us design our uniforms and now our caftans. So I'm a big fan of so many places and so many people. So don't rush it.
And oh my gosh, the list is full already. When's the best time to visit as well?
I would avoid end of June until mid-August. That's when I would avoid, but the rest of the time come. I mean, it's glorious. We have incredible weather all year round. For the first year, this year, we had a little bit of rain, but we do want to see more rain, but it is glorious weather. In the middle of winter, it's 20 degrees during the day and sunny. So, it does get
fantastic.
down to cold in the mornings, like 4 or 5, but it's 20 degrees and it's really pleasant in the middle of winter, so December.
And what about if you're outside, if you're traveling around Morocco? I mean, obviously midwinter it's going to get pretty cold in some of those desert areas, but are they, is it aside from summer? I mean, summer you've got the heat, but then you've also got the European school holidays as well, and I imagine they impact upon you. What about traveling in the rest of the country as well?
Essaouira. Essaouira is Marrakech's sister city, and it is amazing. I mean, honestly, I do love Casablanca, but it is a day. There's not really too much to do. There is the gorgeous mosque to go see. Then Essaouira is a really nice couple of nights. Beautiful experience in the Agafay Desert. If you wanted to go deeper into the desert, obviously there's Sahara. For me, most people from Europe especially, they have limited time. So the Essaouira, the Marrakech, and you really can tick all the boxes. And just to give you an insight, I mean, Condé Nast was, celebrating Fez, and I love Fez, and I've got some gorgeous properties in Fez and Cafe Clock, Tara Stevens, and what they've done there is just amazing. But there is only 500 riads in Fez, whereas in Marrakech, there's 2,500. So it just shows you the scale of how the city is designed for tourism and hospitality. So Marrakech is the home. It's got the culture, it's got the style, it's got the sophistication, it's got the riads, it's got the food, and it's just a tick for me. So
Can you
bias.
still? Well, there is a bias on it. But then can you still get like? Do you feel like you're in Morocco, or is it like a Morocco light kind of thing? I mean, how Moroccan? This is my question. How Moroccan is Marrakech?
I think it very much so. I mean, we still have this beautiful harmony of having a lot of the locals live with us, I mean, the beautiful thing is you can't tell who's where. Every door looks the same, from, the wealthiest person down into, somebody who's struggling. And in our particular street, we know everyone, like all the neighbors, all locals, and it's just part of the culture. So there is, obviously a lot of equity coming in, and there is a lot of hoteliers wanting to get in. And I feel as though the authorities and the locals really are pushing against that, which is great to see. And, I feel as though it is really a beautiful place to be. And we try our hardest to connect people to experiences. But it is a little bit more genteel in some spaces, but just 2 seconds up from us, you can come to the local market. I can take you to, the vintage markets, all that type of thing. So you really do get an authentic experience. My husband's Moroccan. All of our staff are Moroccan. The girls will sit down and chat to you, and we really encourage that kind of feeling at home, and you feel like you're in a different part of the world.
That sounds beautiful. So you've got Marrakech for the city, Essaouira, which of course is Jimi Hendrix territory by the seaside. Beautiful whitewashed buildings up crashing against the Atlantic Ocean. And, it's such a dramatic location. And then of course you've got the deserts, which if you aren't there, you pretty much watch any movie that's ever been shot with a desert setting, and it's going to have been shot in Morocco because it is that picturesque. Are there any new things coming up in Morocco on your radar? So if I might actually, be heading off there in 6 months' time or so, what would you be looking at? Is there stuff happening in Fez or Tangier, or what have I got to put on
Well,
my radar?
obviously, we're gearing up towards the World Cup in 2030. So there is obviously a lot of investment in football stadiums, which is huge in Tangier. So Tangier in particular, obviously, Jasper Conrad, who is 3 doors down from us in Marrakech. So his property is La Hotel, just around the corner from us. And he took over Yves Saint Laurent's house in Tangier, which is like the newest part, kind of from a hotelier perspective, that's been going on in Tangier. Tangier, again, reminds me of Brisbane. It's very tropical and beautiful and hilly. And it's weird, right? Because there's so many gum trees and so many like flowering gums all over Morocco. And it's such a weird experience. Some days I go, oh, yes, am I in Australia or am I in Morocco? And then I see some guy on a donkey and I go, I'm in Morocco. It's just so interesting. So obviously there's a lot of infrastructure, investment, and there is a whole bunch of new services coming. And I think that we're just getting smarter with technologies and implementing different things. So I think that's kind of a bit of a general kind of, mention. Unfortunately, some of the big boys are coming to Essaouira, which is good and bad because I don't want it to turn into a great big package deal holiday place. We still want to keep that authenticity of the horse and carts going down the main streets in downtown Essaouira. So there is investment. A lot of people are looking towards Morocco, but just to put into perspective, I think, tourism is like 15% of the GDP. It's nothing in comparison to what Morocco does from an economic perspective. We're the biggest exporter of phosphate in the world, so everything grows really well. And, we're feeding, looking to be the pipeline to feed, all of Europe with all of our great fruit and veggies. So agriculture obviously employs 50% of our, population. So it's, tourism, we've smashed before COVID levels. Last year we hit 20 million tourists and 90% of that's coming to Marrakech. So
Wow.
we
Okay.
keep
But it's nice to know that there's a little pocket there of quite. So just tell us what plans have you got for your time in Marrakesh in the coming year or two?
Well, obviously being addicted to renovating, we're a bit landlocked where we are. We are always obviously hoping to expand, but we have purchased a property, which is another beautiful riad, a couple of streets away. And our plan is over the next 12 months to convert that, but not turn it into accommodation. So it will be more of an experience space. We're going to be doing a lot more around well-being. And really excited to share that with you, Belle, when it gets closer to the date and I can, reveal a few more bits and pieces.
Sounds exciting. Okay, well, we'll watch this space. So I'm going to ask you a final question, and I reckon it's going to be an absolute banger. What is your most bizarre travel experience? And it doesn't have to be in Morocco.
Well, I think talking about meeting my husband was quite interesting. And I think some of the bizarre things, I used to live in Santorini. So I moved to Santorini in my 20s and I ran a hotel in Santorini just by accident.
Wow.
And I got adopted by a beautiful German woman and her Greek husband. And they would do my washing and I would stay near them. And then I would try to catch the bus on time to Fira, into the main city. And the bus is always late. Never rely on a Greek bus. But it was so interesting because I'd always be freaking out, stressed out. I worked for not so many very nice guys. And they were like, she's going to be late. She's going to lose her job. And I was earning €5 a day and a beer was $5.50. So that was my wages.
What?
Yeah, it was, obviously slave labor at that point. I was only 20. It was like 1999. So you can do the math. I'm a bit old. And I would honestly sit there and go, oh, I'm going to be late. And the next thing you know, some guy would turn around in a donkey and go, do you want a lift? I'd be like, yeah. Or the next day, some other guy would pull up in a car and I would just jump in. I'm not going to be late. And I don't know if that's the most bizarre, but that I felt like there was always this presence of, the good would always work out. And I think that that's an ongoing experience I've always had with travel. And, I think that really restores your faith in humanity, traveling. Every day I switch off the news. I don't listen to Murdoch as much as I can. And I really focus in meeting people and being present. And it really does instill your faith in humanity, meeting people and listening to their stories of travel and what their experiences are.
No, you're singing to my heart. Thanks so much for that gorgeous experience. And I know when in doubt, when I'm running late, which I often am, I'll just wait for a donkey to turn up based on this one. Okay. Yay. Thank you. And it was so great to have you on the podcast and to send a little bit of Marrakech's sunshine down to Melbourne today. And we look forward to seeing more about the Riad and your upcoming plans.
Thank you so much. And I hope you can come and visit.
That was Belle speaking with Angela Mellak, owner of Riad Botanica in Marrakech, and you can find out more at riadbotanica.com. Our tip this week is where you can find the airports with the best entertainment. We're talking everything from the best shopping to slot machines. So a new study by digital entertainment company Casino.com found which airports offered travellers the most fun, and the leader was Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. I mean, surprise, surprise. It has 50 casino and slot machines, 132 shops and 95 restaurants. The research says it's because the airport actually works almost like an extension of the city's casino floors, my worst nightmare, letting travellers gamble right up until boarding. That just screams absolute nightmare to me. Mental note, avoid that airport. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. I too have serious concerns about gambling in airports. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? So I've got to say, yeah, that one is not singing to me at all. But second place on the list is far more familiar ground, and that is Singapore's Changi Airport, which constantly tops best best airport in the world list. So as many listeners will know, it is a shopping destination even before you leave the airport, with over 250 stores spread across its terminals, which is more than double the retail space of the Vegas airport. It's got almost more than 20 entertainment attractions. So you've got everything from indoor gardens to movie theaters, loads of dining options. And so it's a far more family-friendly one when you read the stats, right? And then coming in third place was Tokyo Haneda Airport, which is built around one of the largest dining scenes. It's got more than 150 restaurants. So it serves more food than any other airport. And, if you go to Tokyo, you're going there to eat anyway, as well as all of the other gorgeous things. But the airport also has up to 180 duty-free shops and souvenir stores. I was there in April, and what I loved about it was you could get your last-minute fix of ramen from the country's most famous ramen masters while you were waiting to board. And I mean, the shopping is very nice. It's got lots of luxury shopping. I actually did an interview with ABC Radio sitting in one of the luxury shops. I think I was in Bulgaria or somewhere like that, because I thought nobody's going to come in and shop. And they said to me, oh, yes, you could just sit quietly on the lounge. Of course, somebody came in shopping straight away and was looking at this woman desperately trying to be very serious on the phone. But I think it's for food lovers, it is a fantastic airport.
Yeah, amazing. Incheon International Airport ranks in 4th place, and it has 30 separate lounge spaces, so that's very handy. That's more than double what Tokyo Haneda offers, which is next door in Japan. And Incheon actually allows some casino play too. There are 7 slot machine locations, a rare feature outside Las Vegas. Well, so, there you go. If you can't make it to Vegas, you can do it there. And passengers catching flights here can also enjoy the famous South Korean cuisine with 85 dining spots.
But also, actually, in Incheon, did you know you can dress up in hanbok, which is that traditional Korean, there's giant dresses, and you can parade around and have your photos done while you wait for your flight. And so that to me is a winner. And then rounding out the top 5 is Hong Kong International Airport, which is an absolute banger. It has nearly 120 duty-free shops and, of course, luxury brand stores, because Hong Kong, more than 60 restaurants. And if you are lucky enough to be in a lounge, they are some of the best that I have encountered. But also take time to walk the Sky Bridge, which is a glass bridge, so you can see planes passing underneath your feet. And there is actually a bar and restaurant there too. So if just looking isn't enough for you, you can eat and watch planes, which I think says ultimate plane spotting opportunity right there in Hong Kong.
Next week, I'm chatting to former World Bank director Nigel Roberts about his new memoir, The Leopard and the Moon, which he wrote after embarking on a 724-kilometre trek through Nepal after losing both his wife and daughter following their struggles with bipolar disorder and addiction. This is a heartfelt interview where he talks about the challenges of grief and having to face some home truths on his hike in order to deal with it.
That sounds like a fascinating interview, Kirsty. I can't wait to hear that one. And if you love it, you can follow us on socials. You'll find us at The World Awaits Podcast on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. And feel free to drop us a line at hello@theworldawaits.au. Or if you're enjoying this episode, please leave us a rating or a review.
That's a wrap for The World Awaits this week. Click to subscribe anywhere you listen to your favourite pods.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.